So last month we had Airrack, one of the biggest YouTubers in the entire world with 15 million subscribers and over 3 billion views in VP Plus as a guest speaker. For an entire hour, VP Plus students got to come up on stage and personally ask Airrack their questions live. This is by far one of my favorite guest speaker sessions we've ever hosted in VP Plus, and it's awesome that VP Plus is getting so big now that we can have basically some of the biggest guests in the entire world. We also had Daniel Fazio, one of the biggest agency guys, Ayman Arab making 135K, Omar Shafiq making 83K a month. These are live sessions that anybody who's in the community can come to and ask questions directly to experts who are miles and miles and miles ahead of them and learn from them and ultimately take those gems away and apply it to their own freelance business, apply it to their own content business. But Airrack dropped absolute game. He shared his tips on how to land the biggest creators in the entire world, how to go above and beyond to actually get noticed by massive clients like him, how to become a top 1% video editor, like one of the best. He obviously works with the best video editors in the world. He shared the steps anyone can kind of follow to become a top 1% video editor. And he also dropped sauce on how to blow up as a content creator, how he would do it all again if he had to, and how he built his massive platform. Truly awesome. So a bunch of sauce in today's episode. If you didn't know, Airrack, before being a 15 million subscriber YouTuber, ran a wedding videography business. So he was going around filming and editing wedding videos. So he has a ton of actual expert knowledge for editors. And that's something I didn't even know before he jumped into the live session. So I'm about to share with you 4 of my favorite clips from the 1-hour live session. Let's start with Airrack telling us how to actually get in touch with massive multi-million subscriber YouTubers like him. Funny enough, I don't think you guys are going to be very surprised by the answer.
Yeah, so you are a pretty big creator yourself, and you must have so many people reach out to you, oh, can I edit your videos and all that stuff, and most of them you just kind of ignore, right? But are there some specific, kind of messages, like specific value in them that you like kind of see, oh, this kind of stands out, and you kind of reply to them?
I mean, so here's if we boil this question down to first principles, it's like how you get the attention of somebody who has a million people reaching out to them and have an opportunity to work with them and basically get clients. I think it's similar in any facet of building a business, which is that the cream rises to the top. And like, I really believe in doing unscalable things, like do things that don't make any sense in the beginning when you're trying to start something that wouldn't make any sense long-term. If I were you, a good edit is undeniable. Like if I see a good edit, it's undeniable. Like, what am I going to do? Not talk to that person, like not have a further conversation. So, if I were you, what I would do is go wherever you see any YouTubers hiring, and I would go maybe find a way to like re-edit one of their videos or like show what your sauce is. You know what I mean? I know that's like a time-consuming suggestion. I promise that is the #1 way to break through. Like, nobody's willing to do any work for free. I did the same thing when I was starting. Like previous to YouTube, I was a wedding videographer, and I went and filmed like 20 free wedding videos so I could show what I was capable of.
Huge.
I just did a big hiring round, and we had 50 different editors submit test edits. The person who put the most effort into their test edit was so clear. It was like 50 levels above everyone else's test edit, and they had a contract working with us in 2 seconds flat. Like, they have so much leverage because they are so talented.
Did you hear what I just heard right there? Comment if you understand what I'm about to say right now. I'm going to give you a second, okay? Emil, add a timer. 1, 2, the elevator music. Value fucking first, baby. That was Airrack, one of the biggest YouTubers in the entire world, telling you exactly what we preach and exactly what we teach you guys here on this channel for free. I tell you all the time, value first outreach. If you're trying to get your first 5 clients, value first outreach is the way to cut through the noise. And if you're targeting these massive YouTubers, they're not going to stop and, click on your portfolio and have a scroll through your portfolio. Most of these big YouTubers, they hire through complete referrals. So Airrack will text Mr. Beast and say, hey, do you have some good editors? Mr. Beast will send him editors. They're not going through and doing some extensive hiring round and reviewing your shitty portfolio, bro. I'm sorry, they're just not. However, Airrack literally said in this clip, a good edit is undeniable. And in the early days, he said he's a big fan of doing the unscalable things. And it's the unscalable things like doing free edits for people that really holds the most weight. The best way to do value first outreach, and we talked about this later in the live session, is go on YouTube Jobs. Anytime a YouTube creator posts a job on YT Jobs, go to their content, rip their content, make it better, and don't apply with some shitty portfolio link. Apply with a value first edit, a sample of your skills, putting your money where your mouth is and showing them what you can do. I guarantee you it hits 10 times harder, and we preach this all day long in VP Plus and on this channel for free. But I hope to anybody who was on the fence about value first outreach, that right there there, one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, telling you to do value first outreach, it's a no-brainer. Next clip.
You know what the surprising part is? This is what like Jack and like other mentors exactly tell us to do.
Oh, really?
It's legendary. We call it value first. So you just literally, without knowing anything about VP Plus, as a huge creator yourself, you just gave the exact sauce that we've been helping everybody in here do. So that's fucking awesome.
Dude, I will also say I can tell, like I get a million messages on Twitter, people just saying I'll edit for you. How am I supposed to? I wish that I could distinguish between somebody who's serious and somebody who's not, and I can tell when they're just spamming that message to like every YouTuber, you know? Like if I were you, I would scope in on a couple of creators that I think I can specifically help and like literally just start talking to them and like being so specific in your messaging, like being like, I can help you with editing versus being like, in your last 5 videos, you did these 5 things that suck. Like you have to make these better. I can do it. Here's proof that I can do it. Blah, 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 blah. Do you think I'm not going to have a conversation with, like, I would be so stupid to not have a conversation with that person. So however you can approach, I know it seems insane and it's going to be a ton of work, but it's actually the fastest route to building clients and working with bigger creators.
So that was another great addition right there, piggybacking off the first clip. He basically talks about how you should laser in on a few creators, which is basically like Dream 100 or Dream 10. Instead of, targeting a ton of random people, put together a short list of the top 10, top 20, top 50 creators that you really, really, really want to work with, and just simply watch their content, stalk their content. And when you see they're doing something wrong, don't hit them with some bullshit, hey, do you need an editor message? Hit them with actionable value that you can help with. Hey Jack, I love your content, but your thumbnail in the last video wasn't really everything it could be. Here's a free thumbnail that I just created for you. I'd love to work on more of these. People have closed me with that exact same approach before. Hey Jack, I saw your last video, the SEO sucked. I think we could really improve it. One of my students, Nico, literally just landed FaZe Clan as his client. FaZe Rain and FaZe Temper, 2 of the biggest FaZe guys in the entire world outside of Banks. And he landed them through aggressive value first outreach. Every other day he was popping up with DMs. Hey, I saw you started a React channel. I'd love to edit for you. I made a sample. Hey, I saw the thumbnails aren't everything they could be. I made a free thumbnail for you. Hey, I made another free thumbnail for you. Hey, I just watched your live stream and picked out 3 clips. Here's the clips for you. And who would have known he got hired, and he's now negotiated a rev share deal with FaZe Temper and FaZe Rain. So he's managing and building a second channel for them, and he's taking a percentage of the revenue, 30% of all the revenue. When those channels reach like serious earning potential, can you imagine how much money he's making? Way more than if he was just offering, some bullshit $200 for an edit. A lot of the time, volume, aka just shitloads of messages, gives you the impression that because you're doing more, you're gonna get further. In actuality, higher quality, lower volume, just lasering in on creators who you really think you can help and just providing a ton of value up front is actually the fastest path to landing these big guys.
Sven, what's up, you dirty boy?
Yeah, I just came back from the gym, just did leg day.
Dude's jacked.
My question to you was, you've been like very respected by a lot of editors that work with you. You worked with like one of the greatest, really close, like he was your best friend or so. I was wondering, like for me, like as a person that has like been on the like quite a high level already for a long time, and my goal is to become the best editor in the world, basically. What would your advice be, and what did you maybe help, for example, Mac with to achieve that goal of like becoming like above just being a talented editor and just being outstanding? Like, would you have any tips for me to like get even better than where I'm at right now?
Yeah. Well, I think when we're talking about like god tier editors, I mean, I should honestly call Mac and ask him like what he would advise, but I'm pretty sure I would know what he would say. He would just tell you like, number one, it starts with the skill set. Like any of these guys that are god tier editors, they have a natural skill set, or I wouldn't say a natural skill set, but they're the hardest working human beings you've ever met in your entire life. They're the hardest working, most focused individuals you've met in your entire life. Like it's a sickening amount of focus and effort in a singular direction, paired with extreme coachability and like openness to like be proven wrong and like no ego on the table. Like these are the guys that like they're so unbelievable. Like it's hard to communicate how focused they are in a singular direction. Like they are not focused on anything except for storytelling, becoming amazing editors. The biggest difference in my mind is who you are surrounded by. Like who is feedback coming from? So even for me, like I'm not convinced even that I have the best feedback. So I think it comes from a pursuit of greatness. Like, you know, when Mac and I were first starting, it was like we were like, I wouldn't even be talking about it, but Mac would be like looking at the back end retention graphs, and he would be adjusting his edits based on retention. I wouldn't even know it, but we would get like 5 videos on the pipeline, and he's like, I observed this, and this about the videos, like blah, 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 blah. Also, having editors on set with me has helped a lot. Like having them like in person, and they're like editing the video in their head live. Like they're like watching the video happen in real life. And then when they go to their computer, they edit the video twice as fast and twice as well because they have all this context of like watching the whole thing unfold in front of them. That helps a lot. But I think increasing, there's a certain point of diminishing returns on work ethic, and it becomes having high quality feedback in your ear. Like surrounding yourself with people. If you're already at like an 8 out of 10, going from an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 is it's like chess, where it gets exponentially more difficult as you go further down the line, you know? And so the thing that changes is the people who are telling you how to get better, if that makes sense.
Massive. So that was Sven, one of our VP Plus guys. He joined VP Plus making, I think, $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Since he joined, we've taken him to $24,000 a month. He's killing it, but he's actually one of the best video editors in the entire world. Like, Sven's an actual beast. He actually worked with Airrack before a couple years ago, so that's why they kind of knew each other at the start of that clip. But Airrack was sharing his thoughts on how to become a god tier editor, like a top tier editor. And the main takeaway there was they're just so fucking obsessed with what they do. They're just so dialed in, and they obsess over every little detail. They're asking, hey, can I get access to the backend analytics so I can start to look at the retention graph? Can I see, okay, you know, at 2 minutes, I really lost people, or you know what, the hook isn't really hooking people enough. I have to optimize the hook. The more you can get obsessed with not just like making a pretty video, but mainly making a video that actually performs well for the creator. Creators will work with you for 10 times longer if their videos actually outperform the other ones. It's not just about over editing and just packing a video with crazy effects left, right, and center. Your videos need to ultimately be a conversion mechanism. And if the conversion isn't, you know, sales for some biz creator or some info product seller, the conversion can be subscribers, better retention, a 1 out of 10 on the YouTube dashboard. Those are measurable metrics that actually the creator can get behind and say, okay, wow, this editor actually is incredible. Massive takeaway there would be any clients you're working with where you're making YouTube videos for them, ask to get access as a channel editor or a channel manager or a channel moderator so that you can view the analytics and just pay attention to the data. If the video is losing people at the 2-minute mark, you make adjustments. If there's a certain section where loads of people rewatched it, great, that could be a memorable moment that you want to do more of in the future, or a good sign that your storytelling techniques were really working there. But ultimately, obsession was probably the main takeaway of this clip right here. How to be a top 1% editor, be obsessed with what you do, and also use the data to make yourself even better.
So right now, I'm in about 1.5 years full-time freelancing, editing, all that. Kind of working with some of my childhood dreams. I'm working with FaZe Rain. I just started to work with Zong. They've got like 50 million subs. It's been insane. And I'm kind of just like in the grind phase, right? I'm just editing. I'm trying to run an agency. I'm trying to build out my team to work with more people so I can have more freedom with my life and stuff, because that's like a big thing for me. But my ultimate passion is content, man. I've been watching you since like 2019, like pre-Logan Paul.
When you say make content, do you mean be in front of the camera making videos, or what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, like be a creator, someone to inspire.
Before I started doing YouTube full time, I like had a business. So I had basically a wedding video company that I basically turned into a version where I was spending like 10 hours a week on it, and it was basically paying me like a very minimal salary. Like I was taking I was living in Atlanta and Georgia, so the cost of living was low, but I was taking like a $40K a year salary, like very little, but like just enough. I'm like, I'll take the $40K a year salary, invest in an extra employee that can run it so that I can only spend 10 hours a week on it. I think you have to put yourself in a position where your bills are paid, or else you're gonna just live in like a constant.
Yeah. Luckily, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Obviously, living with my parents. I only just turned 19, so I'm like fairly young. But yeah.
Good for you.
So that's kind of why I'm just
So like, do you need to make money or no?
I don't need to make like a crazy amount, but I want to like make enough so when eventually the content stuff takes off, I can invest a lot into it, because that's all I really care about. Just to go invest back into the content.
Yeah. I would say you're thinking about it a little backwards. It's like when the content takes off, you can invest into it. The content takes off because you invest into it.
No, that's what I mean. It's like the money I make from this goes straight into the content like I want to make. That's what I mean. Sorry for the phrase that wrong.
Okay, gotcha. So you need like so you're basically your bills are covered, but you need like a budget for videos. You need to get as much time as humanly possible and a little bit of money. That's and then you need like more drive than any person you've ever met. That's how you win at being a YouTuber, basically. You need a lot of time and enough money. I wouldn't get a filmer. I would film your own videos. I would edit your own videos. I would put any, like, I mean, my first videos cost $100, $200. You don't need much money, you know, like the Stranger Things video was free. The first, like doing the Uber Eats with like pizzas video was like $100.
Yeah.
You know, the filmers were my friends who agreed to film me for free. So there's no need to bill around that. It's like, you basically have to say no to everything else. Like I remember when I was running my video agency and I had I like made the decision. I'm like, I'm gonna spend as little time as possible. I'm gonna let this business like atrophy and just pay me enough money to get by. And then like immediately it was like the biggest client I ever had came through and I had to say no to them. Like you have to say no to everything that's going to consume time. Fully focused on cleaning, like opening your schedule up as much as humanly possible. I would take a 2-hour meeting every morning from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 10. And then the rest of the day was YouTube. I would take that call from anywhere around the US while I was shooting. Like you have to relieve yourself of all responsibility. If you actually want to get serious about it, you have to relieve yourself of all responsibility, except for the basic responsibilities that give you the most amount of money for the least amount of time. And then spend every other possible hour of your day filming and editing. If you don't do that, then you're going like medium speed, which it's impossible to compete at medium speed.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been, especially recently. I built out the SOPs to hire like thumbnailers, to do the thumbnails for the live channels, the short form, all that. So like, for example, Norden now, all I do is in the morning for like an hour or so, skim through the VOD, get the time frames from the stream, upload them, have a thumbnailer doing the thumbnail, the short form doing the short form. So that takes like an hour of my day to just do that and that's done, right? So I just need to do that more to get it to the point where it's like I'm spending, like you said, like that much a day. And then while I'm doing that, just start to make content and then I'll have more time.
Set a goal and imagine in your head that you're going to die if you don't hit the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was convinced myself, like I like convinced myself that if I didn't hit 1 million subscribers that first year, that I was like gonna explode or something. You know what I mean? Like, legit, it was like gun to my head, believed that like I had to do it. You have to like set a goal or else another year is just gonna go by and you're not gonna do YouTube. Yeah. You know? So you got to like really die to the lie.
So that was a huge clip right there. That actually might be the most actionable advice for actually blowing up on YouTube that I've ever heard. And the takeaways were, I've taken some notes. You blow up because you invest, not invest when you blow up. That's absolutely massive. So that kind of goes into any business you're building, whether YouTube or not. The business thrives because you invest in it monetarily and obviously time investment, not waiting for some magical moment for it to first blow up and then you invest. Airrack also says that you need a lot of time and a little bit of money to blow up on YouTube. You don't need shitloads of money. You just need a lot of time and you need to say no to pretty much everything else. He had a thriving wedding videography company and he basically took a back seat and put money into hiring an employee to ultimately run the business for him. And he paid himself a $40,000 salary so he could only spend 2 hours a day on a quick meeting every single morning, checking in and mitigating and managing things, basically delegating work to other people and kind of being like the brain behind the business, I suppose, so he could fully focus on content. And he says to free up your schedule as much as possible, you need to relieve yourself of all responsibilities except for the basics to keep the business moving, and it's impossible to compete at medium speed. That right there was the hardest hitting thing he said. It is impossible to compete in any business at medium speed because if you're only putting a part of your effort into it, a part of your time into it, there's killers out there putting every single waking moment, every single breath, every single day into building their channel, into building their business, and they're just gonna outcompete you. In the real grind times where I've blown up YouTube channels, if we're talking about my first YouTube channel, it's Jug here when I blew up doing GTA 5 trolling videos, gaming videos when I was a kid. I lived and breathed YouTube. I did nothing but YouTube. I was on Skype calls all day long with my boys scheming, how are we gonna blow up? Okay, this new trend is happening. This new game comes out. This is gonna happen. This is gonna be a trend. And sure enough, I blew up and all of my friends around me blew up as well. 20K, 1 million, all this kind of stuff because we lived and breathed it every single second. The second like ultimate grind time for YouTube is when I was blowing up this channel, the Jack Cole channel. I uploaded a YouTube video every single day for an entire year. And sure enough, I blew up. Now that doesn't mean that every single video did well, but I had 8 million view videos, 1 million view videos, 500,000 view videos. And by the way, a ton of those videos also still to this day haven't even broken 1,000 views. That's just kind of the law of averages. That's the game. But that's an incredible clip to end on. And I think that's the main takeaway of the entire video, of every clip. It's impossible to compete at medium speed. If you really want it out here, you need to put an ungodly amount of work in. And who would have known that builds momentum the fastest and usually gets you the results the fastest. So I'm going to throw you away to this video. This is a good continuation from this one. I'm going to link to this. I'm going to jump off your screen in 3, 2, 1. See you there.